Are you tired of being the nice guy who always finishes last? What if I told you that ruthlessness, not cruelty, but controlled power, is the missing piece in your evolution as a man? This isn't about becoming a villain. It's about understanding a truth few accept. In a world built on dominance and respect, kindness without strength isn't virtue. It's weakness. You feel it immediately. The weight of the world pressing against your shoulders, the quiet observation of life, revealing how easily those who bend and please are overlooked, dismissed, or quietly used. You have spent years operating under the illusion that kindness alone, generosity, and the habit of accommodating everyone around you are virtues that demand respect. Yet each time, you notice the same outcome. The world rewards decisiveness, control, and an unshakable presence far more than it ever honors generosity or endless patience. There is a tension here, an inversion in the very fabric of social exchange that the average man refuses to see. The world does not respect kindness. It respects those who can impose boundaries, enforce consequence, and maintain composure when everything around them unravels. Consider the women you encounter, consciously or unconsciously observing your behavior, parsing the rhythm of your speech, the firmness of your posture, the subtle decisiveness of your choices. Every withdrawal, every calm refusal to overextend yourself signals a certainty they can sense but cannot fully articulate. The man who reacts to every demand, who constantly seeks approval, who softens under pressure, is perceived as pliable, predictable, and ultimately forgettable. The woman does not consciously desire chaos, yet she is drawn to the tension of unpredictability contained within strength, the silent gravity of a man who exists on his own terms and refuses to be fully mapped, fully possessed. This is the first truth you must internalize. Respect is born not from the continuous generosity of action, but from the subtle mastery of self-control. Every time you assert your value silently, through action restrained, through boundaries maintained, you generate a ripple of psychological recalibration in those around you. They notice. She notices. Your influence grows precisely because you do not need to prove it in words. It radiates through presence. The average man does not understand this. He believes that kindness, openness, and endless accommodation are sufficient to earn admiration, and he is repeatedly proven wrong. You, however, by understanding this principle, begin to occupy a space that is simultaneously safe, desirable, and untouchable. In behavioral terms, you are creating scarcity and value through controlled absence, but not cruelty. You are training perception. A woman observes a man who does not bend to every whim and begins to map her own responses, curiosity naturally activated, reward and intrigue, tension and anticipation. These are the subtle currencies of attraction, and they are invisible to those who operate purely in kindness. Meanwhile, the Stoic strategic man leverages silence, selective generosity, and emotional steadiness to position himself as the pivot point around which respect and desire revolve. Pause for a moment and reflect on your own experiences. How often have you noticed the man who refuses to apologize unnecessarily, who maintains composure in disagreement, who stands firm yet reserved in conversation, suddenly commanding attention that once eluded you? The principle is simple yet overlooked. Those who wield quiet, calculated ruthlessness, not malevolence, not cruelty, but the measured application of power tempered by self-mastery, draw admiration because they embody a rare truth. They demonstrate what many subconsciously crave: certainty in a world of indecision, stability in chaos, and the magnetic tension of a man whose value cannot be extracted by flattery or pleading. This is your first micro-realization. Kindness alone is insufficient. Discipline, strategic restraint, and the controlled exertion of will are what shape perception, attract respect, and elicit the subtle yet undeniable curiosity that transforms interaction into influence. Women, consciously or not, are drawn to the tension between the man's accessibility and his inviolable boundaries, sensing instinctively the power encoded in his comportment. It is not the loud assertion of dominance that commands respect, but the quiet certainty of presence that signals a man who will neither be hurried nor bent by circumstance or desire. Every small choice, every moment of measured withdrawal, every refusal to overshare or overcommit becomes a thread in the tapestry of influence you are weaving. The average man scatters his energy recklessly, believing openness equals value, kindness equals attention, and constant availability equals admiration. You begin to understand that the strategic man accomplishes far more with far less apparent effort. That attraction and respect are not rewards for generosity, but consequences of controlled power, applied with timing, precision, and psychological awareness. This realization is more than theory. It is a lens through which to view every interaction, every relationship, every negotiation of social space. By observing, reflecting, and internalizing these truths, you are already stepping into a space few men ever occupy. Your attention is no longer wasted on the transactional reward of pleasing others. Instead, you are calibrating behavior, constructing presence, and sculpting perception in a way that naturally attracts respect, intrigue, and desire. Each choice now carries weight, each withdrawal becomes a tool of influence, and each silent, confident act of self-restraint signals the truth of your value to the world. The world rewards those who understand these subtle mechanics, those who move deliberately, whose actions are governed not by whim or reaction, but by calculated awareness of consequence. And as you watch, as you reflect, as you begin to act in accordance with this understanding, you feel the first stirrings of transformation. The quiet, undeniable authority that emanates from a man who has stopped believing that pleasing others is the path to fulfillment. This is the initial step, the opening door, the revelation that sets the stage for a mastery of perception, attraction, and respect that extends far beyond surface behavior. You are no longer merely a participant in social dynamics. You are beginning to perceive the architecture beneath them, the forces of desire, curiosity, and respect that the average man ignores. The world respects the ruthless, not cruelty, not malevolence, but the measured, deliberate application of will tempered by self-mastery. And the moment you embrace this, the world begins to bend to the contours of your presence, subtly, invisibly, irresistibly. You begin to notice the invisible currents around you, the subtle patterns that dictate who is noticed, who is followed, and who is quietly dismissed. Life is not neutral. It rewards those who understand the interplay between perception and presence, those who recognize that every human interaction is a negotiation of attention, energy, and consequence. Women, like all human beings, respond first to the unspoken signals, the firmness of a stance, the clarity in thought, the calm steadiness that comes from mastery over one's impulses. They do not require you to shout, to prove, or to advertise your worth. They feel it in the microcosm of posture, gaze, and composure, and it sparks a curiosity they cannot easily quell. The man who dominates attraction does so through restraint, not imposition. This is not aggression. It is the subtle, continuous assertion of presence without neediness. Consider the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius walked through the chaos of empire not by loud command, but by the unwavering control of himself, by the quiet consistency that demanded respect from allies and adversaries alike. You too are learning that the demonstration of power is not in forceful action alone, but in the measured capacity to act or withhold, to respond or remain still, to engage or retreat. Each choice creates tension, psychological gravity, that others instinctively register. Modern behavioral psychology frames this as the principle of scarcity and anticipation. People, women included, assign value to what is not immediately available, to the man who is emotionally steady yet selectively engaged. The average man gives freely, reacts impulsively, and thus diminishes his own perceived value. You, however, calibrate attention like a skilled conductor, orchestrating micro-experiences that elicit fascination and intrigue. She notices when you withhold not out of spite, but because your attention is governed by deliberate discretion. In that space, she begins to reassess her own desire, projecting curiosity onto you, attributing qualities she senses but cannot define. Imagine a river flowing unimpeded. A stone placed deliberately alters its path, subtly shifting currents downstream. You are the stone. Not through force, but through intentional presence, you guide perception, creating ripples that influence without overt manipulation. Machiavelli described this long ago. Mastery is exerted not by blatant domination, but by shaping conditions so that others act as you wish, perceiving their actions as autonomous. The modern man who understands this principle exudes power quietly. It is the invisible architecture of influence that separates men who are remembered from men who are forgotten. Every micro-interaction becomes a lesson in psychological tension, a delayed response to a message, a calm acknowledgement instead of overzealous agreement, a silent confidence in conversation. Each builds an unspoken ledger of authority. Women, attuned to these signals, begin to observe, to reevaluate, to test and measure. And here lies the lesson the average man misses. The more you demonstrate self-control and measured engagement, the more the environment bends subtly to your influence. Your scarcity becomes a mirror for desire, your steadiness a canvas for respect. Temporal awareness sharpens this effect. Every decision you make carries forward into future perception. A man who acts impulsively today will be remembered as reactive tomorrow. A man who exerts measured control, responding with timing and deliberation, embeds himself in the memory of others as someone whose actions matter, whose presence shapes outcomes. Consider the woman who now reflects on interactions with you from weeks past. Each moment you withheld unnecessary affirmation, each instance you maintained composure under social pressure, each time you allowed curiosity to simmer rather than satisfy it immediately, has compounded into a psychological narrative she constructs unconsciously. He is not like other men. He is distinct. He is compelling. Your understanding of this principle also intersects with deeper, almost poetic mechanics of human behavior. Attraction is a negotiation between curiosity and security, tension and resolution, access and restraint. To elicit engagement, you do not need to manipulate overtly. You only need to calibrate yourself to the natural rhythm of attention. Every pause, every controlled expression, every unspoken boundary signals a truth. Your presence is not trivial, your attention is earned, and your actions are deliberate. She senses that in your stillness is power, in your measured withdrawal is authority, and in your consistency is an invitation to explore something more profound than surface-level interaction. Here lies the layered truth. Strategic ruthlessness in behavior is the ability to act or refrain in accordance with long-term consequence rather than short-term approval. It is a delicate tension between action and inaction, a rhythm you master consciously while others operate unconsciously. Each micro-decision, each moment of withheld reaction serves as a demonstration of self-mastery and boundary enforcement. The result is magnetic not because it is coercive, but because it resonates with an archetypal recognition of strength, the kind that has always commanded respect across time and culture. Even in the mundane spaces, conversations, work, social gatherings, these principles apply. The man who speaks with timing, who allows silence to punctuate meaning, who offers insight sparingly yet with weight, is the man whose presence lingers in memory. The average man fills silence with chatter, urgency, and reactive affirmation. You, through measured presence, through the orchestration of tension and attention, transform simple engagement into subtle mastery. Women, peers, and colleagues alike cannot ignore this. They sense the gravitational pull of your composed self. This is not about cruelty or moral compromise. It is about the conscious application of awareness, the deliberate shaping of perception, and the mastery of self in alignment with both internal and external truth. Stoicism teaches that control over oneself is the only real power. Machiavelli teaches that perception guides action in others. By merging these truths, you create a behavioral architecture in which attraction, respect, and influence are natural consequences of your disciplined presence, your emotional steadiness, and your deliberate engagement with the world around you. Micro-realizations continue to accumulate. Each time you observe your own reactions, each time you calibrate your response to emotional stimuli, each time you let curiosity build, rather than rushing to fulfillment, you solidify a foundation upon which the world, women included, will unconsciously rely for cues of value, authority, and desirability. This is the invisible work, the architecture of influence that few men ever notice and even fewer ever master. And as you move through the hours, the days, the interactions that form the mosaic of modern life, you realize the truth of strategic restraint. Your presence, when tempered with quiet ruthlessness and deliberate control, becomes the measure against which others unconsciously compare themselves. You have begun to occupy a space of authority, not through force or volume, but through the orchestration of tension, timing, and unwavering composure. Each layer of awareness, each calibrated choice, compounds into a gravitational field of respect and attraction that is as invisible as it is undeniable. By now you see the pattern. Life bends to the measure of restraint, the quiet certainty of a man who moves through the world unshaken by expectation or applause. Respect, desire, and influence are not granted for generosity alone. They are the natural outcome of presence, self-mastery, and the deliberate orchestration of tension. The man who can hold himself apart from fleeting approval, who calibrates attention, who chooses when to act and when to remain still, embodies a gravity that cannot be ignored. Women, peers, and even rivals sense it immediately. He is neither frantic nor pliable. He is contained, measured, authoritative. His kindness is neither casual nor unearned. It flows from a position of strength, not neediness. Every interaction becomes a subtle demonstration of value, every pause a lesson in control, every deliberate choice a reinforcement of perception. Attraction is no longer a puzzle. It is a reflection of his internal equilibrium mirrored outward. You realize now that the world respects the ruthless, not in cruelty, but in disciplined authority, in the relentless consistency of presence, in the tension between approachability and untouchable mastery. Your kindness is honored because it is earned. Your attention is desired because it is scarce. Your power is felt because it is silent, deliberate, inevitable. And in this understanding, you are transformed. You are no longer the man who finishes last, the one who bends to expectation or chases approval. You are the man who commands respect, ignites curiosity, and shapes perception effortlessly. The strategic application of presence, timing, and restraint has become your signature. The world does not simply notice you, it moves in response to you. This is the truth you carry forward. Mastery over self is mastery over perception. Ruthlessness tempered by wisdom, strength tempered by restraint, presence tempered by silence. This is how you stand, unshaken, unclaimed, and undeniably magnetic.